This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
Rooker, it's a fly ball to deep center. Robert going back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Adolis Garcia sends on the other way. That sends Carroll back. He's at the line. Ronald Acuna, another milestone in a truly historic season.
Julio with an absolute nuke out to left field.
It's Glaber Day. And like a good Glaber, Torres is there.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe. From humidors to Stuff Plus to walk-off dingers, we have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to A's Cast Live Spring Training Edition, but we are not in the Valley of the Sun anymore.
That's actually good morning. You said
What'd I
afternoon.
say?
You're already in regular season form. It's only 10 a.m.
Oh, yeah,
It's afternoon on the East Coast.
it's 11 in Arizona. The first thing I noticed this morning when I went outside,
How cold it is?
it's cold here. 2 weeks being in Arizona, I've gotten used to it already being, in the 70s early. Cody's putting on sunscreen because he's bright red burnt.
Up here,
It's cold here in the wintertime.
when we were in Yountville over the weekend, I started peeling. I was like, okay, this is like, there's multimillionaires here. I can't look like I just got home from the Florida Keys. So I had to put sunscreen on or started peeling. So I had to put moisturizer on to make sure I looked good and make sure my wife's birthday one is planned.
I got the whole spring training outfit going.
Hey, you look like Joe Punz, the guy that runs the ballpark in Arizona. You look like his right-hand man right now.
Either that or I'm hitting third for the Savannah Bananas. I'm either a Savannah Banana or this is a spring training. The gear's sweet. I think the hat's money. I think the hat's incredible.
Did you see who most recently was just playing for the Savannah Bananas?
I do not follow the Savannah Bananas.
Come on.
I do not.
I know you can't see him, but John Cena was playing for them. Come on, it's John Cena.
I like John Cena. He's a great performer. The Savannah Banana thing, I've never gotten into the Savannah Banana thing.
Very popular. But it was sold out in like minutes when they came to San Jose.
Totally. It's great. I think it's a lot of fun. I haven't gotten into it.
It's not for everyone. I can't sit here.
I would go. Like if they come back to town and we had tickets, I would go. But can you watch it? Is it online? Like, can you?
I don't
have
know.
a website.
That's where I don't know the information on that one.
Because I think watching it on TV, you'd go watch it like one time, and after a while, the gimmicks would. It's a gimmick.
Yeah. But
it's a cool gimmick. There's no doubt. It's Harlem Globetrotters is what it is.
Yeah, and it's very popular. Like people go, and I figure they were.
The Harlem Globetrotters have been going on for how many years?
Probably since the 60s, 50s.
Yeah, before I was born. So it's a gimmick. I just never gotten into it. So this is spring training gear today. Who do we have on the program?
10:30. We're gonna have the great and A's Hall of Famer Steve Vucinich.
All right.
We'll have Johnny D from the ballpark edition of Know Your Giants. I ran some of the questions by you. Apparently, you're a big Giants honk.
Yeah, I know my Giants. My Giants history.
Yeah, I was impressed.
I did work at KMBR for 10 plus years. So,
and then at 11:30, we're going to have the great Bay Area Radio Hall of Famer and Giants pregame host on KMBR, Marty Lurie, and a surprise guest apparently who will be joining him from the booth.
Oh, I like it.
Hohokam.
Could it be two Bay Area Radio Hall of Famers today?
I think you're correct. I think you're on the right path.
Okay. All right. I want to start today's show out with Mitch Spence. I bet you never thought that would happen.
I know you're a big fan after talking to him the other day. So we had a conversation after you went in the clubhouse and talked to him. So I'm not surprised.
So which game was that? Was that game 2?
That would have been Monday's game, right? Yeah. Because you called yesterday's game. So Monday.
All right. So Monday's game, by the way, I had a blast yesterday with Johnny.
You guys did a nice job. A very nice job.
I like that. I like the idea. It just feels good. It's a more traditional sports broadcast because in the NFL and the NBA and the NHL, you don't have two play-by-play guys on TV or radio, right? On TV, you got a play-by-play guy, you got an analyst. But in baseball, because baseball years and years and years and years ago, baseball had two broadcasters because there was no television. I mean, this is going way, way back, how this precedent was set, right? You had two radio guys because ex-players weren't in the booth then. So baseball on the radio was established as two broadcasters, and we've carried that tradition like we've carried a lot of other archaic traditions forever. Well, you turn on a football game, you don't say, I get the first quarter, you get the second quarter, you get the third quarter, right? NBA, you don't have two broadcasters. You got a broadcaster and an analyst. You're not like, hey, I'm doing the first, you do the second, you do the third, you do the fourth. That didn't happen in the NBA.
No, and
nor in hockey.
No, and like you can look at the Sharks. It's Hockey Hall of Famer Dan Rizanowski and insert former player here, or Drew Remenda, who's an analyst. You look at the NBA, it's Tim Roy, and sometimes most of the time, if it's not Tim by himself, it's Tim Roy and Tom Tolbert. The NFL, it's Greg Papa and Tim Ryan, and then whatever you watch on TV. Baseball, people go, well, no, the Giants do it. Well, no, technically, Dwayne Kuiper and Mike Krukow are former players, so they technically are analysts. Oh, look, Kuiper does do play-by-play. So we are one of the rare teams that has two play-by-play guys, except for yesterday when it was you and Johnny.
Yeah, so it was fun. I like doing it. Johnny handling all the play-by-play, and then just let me do what I do, and had a little fun. That was great. But Monday, so in spring training, when pitchers get done, especially the starting pitcher, they'll make him available down in the clubhouse. And you can go down, and he's just there, and you can just rap with him. So I went down there. It was John Shea, Martin Gallegos, and I go down, and I let them do they got to do the stuff that they're going to get quotes and stuff for their columns. And then I start talking to them. And I asked them about being a Rule 5 guy, because it is a very interesting role. You literally got selected, taken out of your comfort zone, taken out of your organization that you know, and now, boom, it's like you got taken out of your family and thrown to a new family. Welcome to your new family. We're your new mom and dad. It's like, these are your new brothers. You don't know anybody. I mean, you literally, I want to have him on the show, because we were in Nashville when he was selected in the Rule 5 draft from the Yankees. You tried to give David Force, our general manager, some recommendations, and he went, nah.
He did tip us off ahead of time who they were drafting. We were in the know.
You didn't tweet it, though.
Well,
you didn't have the guts.
I don't need to put everything on X.
It's
all in here.
We don't break news anymore. That's not what we do. We know a lot of things that we can't talk about, but that's just how it works these days. Okay, so Mitch Spence, I'm asking him about the Rule 5, and because one of the great guys to go to is my buddy Bip Roberts on Rule 5. Bip Roberts, the kid from Oakland, had a great career, was an all-star. Bip Roberts was a Pirate and was a Rule 5 selection by the Padres. And then, so he's there for a year, total fish out of water, was not ready. He was too young, but the Padres liked him, so they kept him on the roster. And then after that year, sent him down to AAA, and he had to work his way back up. And as he said, he had to hit 350 at AAA Las Vegas for Jack McKeon to call him back up. He had to hit 350. How different baseball is these days. But Bip will tell you how hard it is to be a Rule 5 guy. So I'm asking Mitch Spence about this, and Mitch Spence had the line, and I know I've used it before, especially around the trading deadline. But Mitch Spence said, I want to make it tough on the front office. I want them to have to make a tough decision. And I went, ding, 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 ding. Exactly. That's the mentality. That's the mentality that everybody has to have. Make this a super, super tough decision. Make them have to do what they did last year with Brent Rooker and Christian Pache. That went down to the last hours. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Agonizing over this. Pache is young. He's got a future. Rooker's older. Rooker's had his time. Is this really who we've seen in the big leagues, or is this guy that's had a good spring? Is this going to be real? That was an agonizing decision for the front office. Mitch Spence hit the nail on the head. It's exactly what a bunch of guys on this roster need to do right now. That's the mentality you have to have. I've got to make it a really, really tough decision on David Forrest and company. And I think about one of the guys playing today who I've already started to. Have I told my Daryl Hernandez story yet?
How you met him? That story?
So I go walking in to Hohokam, the Rawlings Gold Glove for our man Ray Fosse. See Fosse right up here. Fosse made sure we always said Gold Glove. Make sure it's a Gold Glove. I used to wear a Rawlings Gold Glove back in the day. So the Rawlings guy is there, and he's got all these beautiful brand new gloves, right? And Hernandez is over there looking at the gloves. He sees me. I've never met him before. Really, I don't know what he looks like. I should know, but I hadn't looked up his picture. I know who he is. We've been following him. So all of a sudden, he comes up and introduces himself. He comes up and goes, I just want to introduce myself. My name's Daryl Hernandez, da-da-da. And I was just like, man, you are a smart kid. You are a smart. He's been watching. He knows. You want to get in the ecosystem? Introduce yourself to me, and now you're in the ecosystem, and now it's like, got to have the guy on the show. Let's promote this guy. So we go over to Camelback Ranch. They're taking on the Dodgers. And you watch him play shortstop, and you see he's super athletic. Gets a base hit to right field. Everything we've been hearing, he can hit. Yesterday, we're over at Goodyear, taking on the Guardians. Stephen Vogt. We'll talk about that. Was a great moment yesterday that we got to see, Johnny and I. So what does he do? Plays third. Hits again. Make this a really tough decision because you've got to let Miss Diaz making $7 million. You brought over Abraham Toro. Nick Allen had 2 triples in the game.
Good to see.
We've talked a lot with Nick Allen. We talked to him at fantasy camp. We talked to Nick Allen spring training. Nick Allen has gained weight. He's gotten stronger, went to drive line. He's worked on his lower half, using the ground as leverage for more power, getting back to his speed and line drives, and early dividends. Looks good. Well, if Nick Allen's going to hit at all and play the defense that he plays, no-brainer at short. We actually have somewhere in your vault, you have David Forrest on with us talking about Nick Allen.
Yeah, it's in there. Yeah, I'd have to get it. But yes, he talked about it last week.
So you start thinking, okay, if we know Noda's playing first and we know Geloff is playing second and we think Nick Allen will be at shortstop. By the way, the great Vittorio DiBartolo has weighed in on my outfit and says I look like a highlighter.
I got that from our boss, Delaire, our creative director, John. I'm throwing one in the bus. Sorry, John. You look like a highlighter as well. I guess they're all in the office together. So, I don't know. I think it looks okay. I mean, it's a little bright.
I'm repping the spring training merch. This is the merch you buy at spring training.
Hey, I'm just saying.
I'm like a billboard for Arizona.
I did not say you look like a highlighter.
All right.
That's just people above us in our department are telling you look like a highlighter.
Well,
you remember that. You keep the receipts.
I'm keeping the receipts. Yeah, when you're selling merch, I'm keeping the. Hey, we started talking about the Mexican restaurant in Mesa that we found that you're gonna love, and we heard people went there after we talked about it.
Yeah, it's not the other restaurant that we found last time we were in Mesa. We don't need to talk about on the air that we stumbled across into.
Oh, Delaire's favorite place?
The place took Raleigh. It's a running joke.
That is an inside joke. I know Delaire. It's Delaire, our boss's favorite place. Delaire loves that place. We got to go back there. But third base really is where we're talking about the competition third base, right?
Yeah, and Hernandez is playing short today.
Yeah. I mean, he's showing, like, make it a tough decision. Make it a tough decision for this front office. Like, we got to see Brett Harris. Brett Harris is big dude, looks the part, third base. You know, we've said it enough for Lawrence Butler. We've said it for J.J. Bleday. We've said it for these guys. Make it a tough decision for all of these guys in the front office. And that's what your job is right now in camp. Seize the moment. Mitch Spence hit the nail on the head on Monday, and he was dead right. And it really is just not for what we're talking about with the Oakland Athletics. It's what we're talking about with everybody in Major League Baseball. It really is. This is your time, because you get more looks in our sport than you do in the NFL. You get, man, you're down to 3 preseason games now. NBA, you have a couple preseason. Hockey, you have a few preseason. Baseball, you got a month. And there's so much going on that we all don't see, right? Like Mason Miller's throwing. We haven't seen him in a game yet, but he's throwing. He's been in simulated games, right? They want to go 20 pitches. They want to control it. They want to totally control how this is going for Mason Miller, because hard to control it when you're in a spring training game. And I mean, yesterday, what was it like? Giants and Mariners was like 10-10 in the 5th inning, something like that. Like, because we get sent the off the apps, you get sent the updates, and all of a sudden I'm looking down, I'm like going, my God, Mariners, Giants. I mean, I don't even know what the final score was.
Oh, wow. You knew all the Giants trivia questions. Now you're getting Giants updates.
Yeah. Forever Giant.
Like B-Craw.
Yeah. So when I go over there, they treat me like I'm the Antichrist when I go over there. But that's so you got these moments that you have to seize for a lot of these young players. And I'm glad they notice it. I'm glad they understand it. They know right now that I'm in the fight to make this thing. Even Jacob Wilson, he laughed when I said, hey, are you sizing all these guys up? You're a number 1 pick. You're a college guy. He's looked pretty good at shortstop already. How about Max Muncy? Max Muncy's, he's coming up over 1,000 at-bats. That magic number of 1,500 at-bats, we call these guys young, but you look at the at-bats, you're a first-round pick. You're not supposed to hang out in the minors forever. These young guys are coming, and it's great to see. Seize the moment.
I mean, a good example, too, is the first start of spring training of Joe Boyle. Pitched well in that spring training debut. He's the guy trying to become the 5th starter in a rotation.
Where would Joe Boyle be right now if he was still a Cincinnati Red?
AA. He might be getting a look in spring training. I don't think he'd make the rotation. They had a lot of injuries last year in their rotation, but not right now. On paper, he wouldn't be in the rotation. He'd probably be going to AAA. Maybe. Could be in AA still.
And yet, like our baseball national columnist, Saris goes, Stuff Plus. Loves him.
Yeah, he's one of the highest ranked guys according to in the Stuff Plus.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, a Joey Estes. I mean, you just look at some of these young guys. This is their time to show everybody that I should be here. And if you don't make it, though, and once again, we're talking for all camps. We're talking about all the teams. If you don't make it, right? If you don't make it, you're going to AAA, but you planted the seed in these front offices' minds that if anything goes wrong with the big club, I'm waiting for my shot. So that's how I wanted to start the show today off what Mitch Spence said to me on Monday. It really resonated. I thought about it this morning as I was listening to some stuff preparing for the show. That's a great mentality. That I'm going to come out here, bust my ass. I'm going to succeed. I'm going to do well. And I'm going to make them have to really think about it. Because you know what? If there was ever a camp to do it in front of Mark Kotsay, this is it. Because Mark Kotsay is tired of losing. Mark Kotsay is tired of it being handed to him. Mark Kotsay wants to win. That's just who he is. We deal with him every single week. I wish you could see Mark Kotze before we turn the cameras on, it's a different guy. Cameras go on, he's got to be the manager. But Mark Kotze is tired of losing. And we need to start winning some games. He knows it. And that's why, Mark Kotze even said with us in his first interview that bottom line is this. You need to do it this year. And if you don't, you won't be here. Powerful stuff, because he wasn't saying that in the past, right? This was growth. We're learning, getting the young players in, mixing some veteran guys. He was saying all the right things. Mark Kotze's done with that. Mark Kotze wants to win. And there's always tough conversations between front office and the people on the field, because the people on the field don't want to talk about contracts, what money's owed, options, and all. They just, hey, give me the best 26 so I have a chance, right? And that's where Mark Kotze is. So if you have a chance to make that impression right now, the way Brent Rooker did, once again, how Mark Kotze started out this camp, talking about Brent Rooker, there could be a lot of Brent Rookers out there right now. Now, whether you're going to make the big club now or whether you're going to be coming up, every at-bat, every inning, every single time. Remember when we talked Kyle Muller? I think I said this to him off the air, but we didn't talk about on the air. It's like every single time you show up, you're thinking about being on the roster. Every single time. Every drill, every sprint, every time you touch the ball, it's the intentions of being on the big club.
And players like him and Luis Medina, I'm pulling up to make sure that I saw this correctly the other day. I believe that those two guys are out of options, so the A's don't want to lose them.
Wait, who?
Medina and Muller, I think.
Yeah.
I think I saw Martin Gallegos tweet it the other day that
tough.
That those were two
tough
guys.
Questions, because
yeah, Muller and Newcomb are both out of options, and I want to say the other one was Luis Medina. Yeah, Medina's out of options as well. So those three guys, they can't. Those two guys, and if you want to include Newcomb, who's probably going to be a reliever, they can't get sent down. So they need to make the roster, because if not, the A's are going to lose them if they try to release them. Someone will claim them, especially Medina with the arm he has.
Oh no!
So they need to seize the moment.
Muller and Medina will be picked up immediately.
Yeah, they need to play. They need to both seize the moment. Maybe they're both in the bullpen. Although David Force has said multiple times that Luis Medina is a starter. So they're going to try him out as many times as they can to be a starter and make the rotation. Where Muller,
already Stripling's. We talked to Mark Kotze on the field there at Hohokam, and he talked about already a fingernail problem. When I heard that, I was like, oh my God.
Are we cursed with bad fingernails on this team?
Paul Blackburn. Don't we have someone who can do nails?
I said, can't you get like it's the top one's a pedicure, right? And
the pedicure, yeah.
The manicure is your feet. What? Can't just go get a pedicure done for spring training?
Can we get some mani-pedis going in the clubhouse?
Manicure should be a.
My wife's got somebody. I'm sure your wife's got somebody. Can we fly them to Arizona and take care of these guys' nails?
It should be a requirement before every spring training game, or before every spring training kicks off. You have to have a manicure done, especially if you're starting pitcher.
Wow. Great to see J.P. Sears yesterday. Looked fantastic. How much has J.P. Sears grown in front of our eyes? Amazing. It's just, it's a story that not a lot of people are talking about, but in a time when pitchers don't go 30 starts, J.P. Sears was a guy that you were like, we didn't know if J.P. Sears was going to make the team. J.P. Sears is going to be a swing guy. Remember that? We were talking about I'm going to be a swing guy. Come out of the bullpen. Daisy needs to start. He was thought of as a swing guy. He went 32 starts. And now you're like, man, I don't know about you. I don't really care what the data says. I don't be coming at me with stuff. Plus, I know I got a guy that's going to be a bulldog out there every 5 days. Loving me some J.P. Sears.
Can you believe there are people that actually wanted to shut him down last year? I admit it. I was one of them.
I remember I was at the Coliseum, and Sears had a rough outing. You were in the stands, and you texted me, shut him down? I'm like, no. Why would you shut him down? He's fine. Well, he's getting hit hard. It's part of life.
I'm glad they didn't.
There were nights that some great players didn't have good games and didn't have good stretches. You know, it's hard to believe there were stretches where Michael Jordan didn't play well.
I can see it.
Okay,
Yeah.
there were.
No,
You know,
we're not,
were games Tom Brady didn't play well.
We're not talking about Jordan as a wizard. We're talking about Jordan as a bull.
There were some bad stretches as Jordan as a wizard. I remember Jordan as a Washington Wizard. You remember him as a Chicago Bull.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember him as a bull.
I remember him as a wizard.
You don't remember him as a Hornets owner?
I remember Joe Namath as a Ram. You remember him as a Jet.
I'm old enough to remember Brandon Crawford as a Cardinal that now it's everyone's talking about.
So he got $2 million, huh?
Yeah, 1 year, $2 million. Cardinals have gotten, not to go off on the Cardinals, but they a team that was old already, they got older this offseason. I mean, they added some arms with Sonny Gray and bringing back Lance Lynn, but adding Crawford, you're just making your team older.
By the way, last night, flying home on Southwest, I was reading my baseball magazine. Speaking of the Cardinals, average attendance exceeded 29,000 in Major League Baseball for the first time since 2017. And it's, a lot was about the pitch clock, games being faster, rule changes, kind of making baseball a little more hip, right? That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make baseball more enjoyable, more fun, hip, more people liking the sport. Per game attendance increased all but 4 of the 30 teams. And, of course, they got to bring us into it.
Oh, of course.
But our attendance went up.
Which is shocking.
We weren't one
Not
of the
shocking.
4. We weren't one of the 4.
There were some highly attended games last year, I will say that.
The 4 teams who last year attendance went down in Major League Baseball. So it's all good news with attendance, right? Attendance is up. The teams that went down, Dodgers, Cardinals, White Sox, Nationals. Dodgers, Cardinal baseball. I mean, the Cardinals have been steadfast like you wouldn't believe.
And the other ones aren't really that surprising because the Nationals were bad again. The White Sox had a really bad year.
And I'm not going to look it up and grind it, but let's be honest. The Dodgers attendance, if it was 3 point whatever million the year before, it's still 3 point whatever million. Maybe it's down by, I don't know what up. Just tell me what it's down.
Their attendance
it's going to be over. They're 3 million. They're over
3.8 million last year. It was first in the National League,
but they went down.
3.86. Oh, come on! It was down like 20,000 people.
They're down. They're Dodger Blue. Got to sign Towny. Yeah.
Tony's going to save the attendance.
So it's pretty ridiculous, right? It's 3.8 million, but that only 4 teams went down. And good news. This is for our boss Dallaire. More people watched baseball on TV last year than they had in decades. Or I should say in a decade. After just decline. TV up. All great news.
Yeah, and we're going to actually talk to someone who's dealing with the whole streaming thing tomorrow, as we're going to have our good friend from the Padres, Jesse Agler, on.
Is it Know Your Friars?
Yeah, we'll do that with Johnny. But Jesse does radio, but he can talk about what's going on with the Padres television because remember, they were one of the first teams to have to go do streaming.
Yeah, like we know the Diamondbacks, if you guys haven't seen it, the Diamondbacks they're going to be streaming and they have a package, $99. $99, you get the entire season. You can stream them.
And then it was like $200 for that and MLB TV? Or
$199 and you get all games. So in the past, remember the baseball package? You could get the baseball package, but you were blacked out for the home games, your home team. Now for $200, I could have, back in the day when I had DirecTV, I could swear I paid way more than that to get the baseball package, and the A's and Giants were blacked out.
Yes. It was way more because I didn't pay for MLB TV. I paid for it because I wanted to listen to the games on the radio, and it was still expensive when I paid it before becoming a league employee. It was expensive. Then that was before even what it was to watch it. So I can imagine. Yeah, because like I could probably look it up.
Like what's it like if I signed up and I'm going to watch it through the app? How much is it?
I'm going to look right now. See if it. Do a quick Google search. See what it costs. MLB.TV all teams $149.99
for the season.
Yeah. Or $30 a month.
Okay, but you're blacked out for your home.
Yeah.
So you're telling me, what did you say, $149 to get it?
Yeah, $149.99.
$149. I love how we do that. Whoever figured that out years ago, I don't know when that was, but that was, always never make it a round number, right? I don't know. Maybe it was the car industry, because there's never a car that goes, this car's $20,000. It's $21,199. It's always some crazy thing.
Yeah.
So for $149, I can buy the baseball package, but the A's and the Giants are blacked out. Correct?
Yes.
In Arizona, for $99, I get the Snakes full season. So I don't have to buy cable. I don't have to do that because cable's expensive. I get cable. You don't. Cable's expensive. My wife is still on me. My wife literally is like, why do we do this? And I go, you know what? I'm going to tell you why. Because you know what? I do work for NBC, and they support me, and they support the A's, and I'm going to support the product. That's why I get cable. And I like to be able to know when I turn it on, I'm not dealing with YouTube TV. And I know when I turn it on, it comes on, and I know where my channels are, and it's that easy. Cable's really easy. It's expensive, but it is easy.
Yeah, I don't have cable. I cut that cord years ago.
Yeah, but everybody, I'm dealing with a Fire Stick, and I'm doing...
Oh, it's on my TV now. I bought a new TV. It's great. I don't have to use anything. I just use a remote.
Do you ever have problems?
The only problem I have with what I have now is I don't have MLB Network.
I have MLB Network.
It's the only thing I don't have.
That is the thing. That is the problem with me, is that I literally only watch like X amount of channels. Like I watch MLB Network. I watch ESPN. I only watch network when it's games. I watch Golf Channel. I mean, that's very rare what I watch. I mean, I watch sports, right?
That's all I do.
So I have no idea where CBS Sports, the station, is until college football season, because San Jose State, we're on it like every week.
That's also true.
Right? We're always on. So I'm always like, but my Xfinity remote, I go CBS Sports, boom, the channel pops up. There's San Jose State against Nevada.
From what I was told,
Fox, what's the Fox channel?
Fox Sports 1.
Fox Sports 1, baseball playoffs, and college football. So college football, I start watching all these different channels. NFL, you know where you're getting NFL, Fox, CBS, NBC, ESPN. That's it.
Yeah,
and then, of course, NBC Sports California, NBC Sports Bay Area for all of our teams. You want to watch Warriors, you want Sharks, A's.
I was watching the Sharks last night on NBC Sports California. Another brutal loss, 7-2. That's okay. They're building for the future. On YouTube TV, I was told from a source that the league and at YouTube TV, this is a few months ago, are working on trying to fix that. So YouTube TV will have the MLB Network again.
I mean, if you work in baseball, you got to watch MLB Network. I mean, their coverage is second to none.
I mean, I pay for Sirius just to listen to Farron and Duke.
And so talking to Jesse Agler tomorrow, the Padres, I am fascinated. What are you doing? Like, we were just taking on Cleveland yesterday. What are they doing? What's everybody doing? The Twins. You got teams like the Mariners and the Twins, who are teams that were in the playoffs last year. You got the World Series champions not spending. How did they not bring back Jordan Montgomery yet? Because of their TV deal, supposedly. Arizona spent, but they don't have a TV. They're streaming. So we'll see. I mean, we've learned from the Utah Jazz. We've learned from the Las Vegas Knights. We've learned from all these different teams that this is the way it's going. For God's sakes, our Jedi, our sensei, our karate guru, Karate Kid Ray, sent us a thing today about the New York Jets. Remember, folks, we talked about why A's Cast is so important. The New York Jets. This is not the Jaguars. This is not the Panthers. This is New York, the biggest market, the biggest sport, the NFL. The Jets have just cut a streaming deal with iHeartRadio. So the Jets, you're going to be able to listen to Jets on an FM music station, but you're going to get all your specialty Jets, the coaches shows, the player shows, all that kind of stuff. You're going to get it on streaming. That's the NFL, man. That's not us little A's and A's Cast. That's the NFL New York, right? That's not, pick me another random NFL team it's not the Arizona Cardinals.
That's exactly where I was going. There really isn't anyone that's small. I mean, okay.
There's really nobody small. Cincinnati Bengals,
Cleveland, but the Cleveland was a playoff team this year. I can't say Houston. They won their division. They won
Buffalo,
Indianapolis.
That's a good one. This is New York, man.
Yeah.
They're going to streaming.
New York City, not Buffalo, New York.
No,
not Western New York.
Not Syracuse, New York. Not Long Island. This is New York, the NFL, streaming. Right? And now we know the NFL's getting into streaming with the NBA. I mean, it's the future. But Jesse Agler tomorrow, I'm glad you brought that up. That'll be interesting to see. Like, what are the Friars doing? Because they spent historically. They spent above their, like whenever
means.
In life, above your means. They spent, and then all of a sudden, the TV money went away. And it's like, I mean, do they really want to get rid of Juan Soto at this point? Probably not. But that was $33 million that they were able to. What was Trent Grissom making?
I don't think he was making that much, but
he's not making the minimum.
No. But yeah, he's another one. What was he making? He's only 27 years old. I thought he was older than that. Grisham is, I forgot he was even a Yankee. Grisham is making, of course, it doesn't say on here what he's making on the front. I had to scroll all the way down. But I don't think he was making like a lot of money when you think of a guy like him, making 15, 20 million. But where's his salary? I'll find it.
Wow, you are slow.
Well, usually it just brings it up how much the guy's making. 3.1. So 3.2.
Okay, so 3.
Well, that was actually what he was making last year. He's actually arbitration eligible, so I don't know what he got from the Yankees.
Okay, let's just say the 3 point between him and Soto, that's 36 point something $million.
Yes. So they saved.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah. Plus that they lost Snell. They're not paying him anymore.
That's a lot of money.
Nick Martinez is gone. They lost a couple guys. Lugo's gone.
That's a lot. I mean, you add it up. The Padres ditched. Now they signed some guys, but the Padres ditched a ton of payroll.
Yeah. I mean, the only guys they're paying now are Tatis, Musgrove, Machado, and they're all making a lot of money.
Those are long.
Oh, Darvish,
Cronenworth,
Darvish.
They're paying a lot. It's like, really?
That's why they're hoping Ethan.
That is not going to age well. That is not. These guys are not. I mean, this is not going to. It's going to be a disaster, right? I mean, that's something that we now can say it. Bob Melvin told us this. Now that Bob's not there, it was at the winter meetings last year. No, 2 years ago in San Diego. We had a little powwow with Bob, manager of the Padres at the time. And Bob was like, this thing's going to be not so good. You got all these commitments. They're spending all this money. Preller's it's just like, what are you doing? And now it's coming to roost. So they had to ditch a ton of side. The Padres, by the way, I'll ask Jesse Agler this. They lost like 670 innings off their rotation.
Yeah.
670 innings. How do you replace 670 innings?
Forgot they're paying Bogarts too.
Oh, Xander. God, I even thought about, yeah. Which was still like, people are like, why did they do that deal?
He's playing, was he playing second base now? He's not playing short anymore. They're running Ha-Seong Kim back at short.
Kim was always been the guy that Melvin wanted to play.
Yeah. Here's the guys they lost. Walk is gone.
What
Lugo's
about Hader?
Gone.
We didn't even talk about Hader.
Walk is gone. Lugo's gone. Snell's gone. I'm just looking at some of the guys I think that are gone from their team that was making some money. Martinez is another guy that's gone. So they've lost a lot of guys.
Martinez is a red.
Yeah, he's a red. Yeah. So those are the guys they've lost. And then they're paying, this year they're paying Fernando Tatis 11.7. They're paying Robert Suarez $10 million. They're paying, I don't know why they're paying Nick Martinez on the team anymore. Machado's making, is this what they're making? Yeah. Yeah. They're all making a good amount of money. Machado says Machado's making $17 million. Bogart's making $25.4.
When you've got two contracts over $300 million, another contract that's like $275, Bogarts or whatever, $280. I mean, that's crazy. And no TV deal.
Yeah.
Like, you can have great attendance. I mean, that's nice, but you have no TV.
Yeah,
deal.
they did have good attendance last year though. Petco Park was rocking for some games.
And they were terrible. Remember that? They came to Oakland, and it was just, we knew, talking to Bob, it was like, oh.
Or were they like
boy.
one? Did they win an extra inning game? I think they were like 0-11 in extra inning games last year.
They finally won one. They were awful in one-run games, awful in extra innings, and they, in the very end, they finally played a little bit better and got to 500. Or were they a game over 500, whatever it was. But I'll tell you what, you start reading the preview, you start reading your magazines and getting your previews ready, you forget how much none of them even sniffed the Dodgers.
No.
Like, wow, they weren't even close.
Yeah, because the Diamondbacks won 84 and they still finished how many games behind the
Oh
Dodgers?
my
like
God, where
17?
the Giants were like, I was
Giants were, I think the
getting
Giants
ready
were
for
81. They're 81 and 81.
Getting ready for the playing the Giants today. I went through the Giants preview.
Or were they 80 and 82?
Well, I can tell you the Padres finished. The Padres finished 18 games back.
The Giants were 79 and 83.
The Giants finished 21 games back. I mean, there wasn't even close in the division. Dodgers have won it at 10 out of 11 years. They've won the division. The only year was when the Giants won 107 and they won 106 a couple of years ago. They finished a wild card.
Yeah, 2021.
I mean, I would love, because, I love to believe everybody's got a chance, because that's what's good for sports, right? Everybody's got a chance. The Detroit Lions now have a chance. The Detroit Lions can have a chance. It's like when the Clippers got good. It's like all of a sudden the Clippers, my God, the Clippers were the worst franchise. The Clippers and the Warriors were the worst franchises like ever. So I like to think everybody has a chance. Diamondbacks, 84 wins, were in the World Series. Everybody's got a chance. I just don't see. I cannot in any way figure out how anybody challenges the Dodgers in the West. I can't come up with a scenario. I mean, the only doomsday scenario is everybody on the Dodgers has to get hurt.
Oh, well, Towny's already not pitching this year, so.
Yeah, he yesterday strikes out and then boom goes yard.
First thing Duke, I don't know if you heard it this morning. First thing Duke had said when they were talking, when he goes, "Oh, well, that game wasn't sold out. I thought there'd be more people at the game to watch Ohtani." We're really talking about how a spring training game wasn't sold out for Ohtani.
Where was the game?
I think it was
Camelback.
Camelback, yeah, for the Dodgers.
That's a big yard. That's like close to 14,000 people.
There'll be 50,000 people
on a Tuesday, early spring training.
There'll be 50,000 people at Dodger Stadium when he makes his debut.
I mean, I don't know how. I don't know how you can come up with a scenario where the Dodgers don't win the West again by a large margin.
I don't think there's any. I mean, the Diamondbacks will be decent again this year. It's a matter of, will these guys who had good years last year, like Brandon Pfaadt and Corbin Carroll.
Pfaadt came on big in the postseason.
But they have some guys they have to replace in their lineup. So hopefully they got to find some more starting pitching. It can't just be Kelly, Gallen, and Pfaadt the whole year.
Corbin Carroll, baby. Christian Walker. They got some players.
Yeah, they do. But they also they just got
By the way, the numbers on the Giants, I've got numbers on the Giants that are horrific for Marty Lurie. So the Giant, let me just give you, we got to get to, how long's Vuce?
Vuce is, let me see. Vuce is 10 and a half minutes.
Okay, check this out. The San Francisco Giants, I want you to remember this. The San Francisco Giants, they started the season 11-16. Not good, right? But don't worry. Farhan smart, Kapler smart. They'll figure it out. They platoon. They do all these things. They're smart. The Giants found themselves 13 games over 500 on July 18th. So they go from a disastrous start to now they're 13 games over 500. We're seeing them in the wild card standings. They're there. They're in the hunt, right? This is mid-July, right before the trading deadline. It's game on. If you're the Giants, you're 13 games over 500 in mid-July. You're in this thing.
Yes.
You agreeing?
Yes, I'm agreeing. Silence means I agree.
I'm trying to play here.
Okay.
Okay. So you're 13 games over 500 July 18th. You wake up on July 19th, and all of a sudden, you look down, and there's water entering the boat. Where's this water coming from? There's water coming in. Well, what the hell? We're 13 games over 500. Why is there water coming into the boat? And then all of a sudden, a gash in the side of the boat. as you get later into July, into August, and now you're in trouble. The San Francisco Giants, from July 19th on, had the 4th worst record in baseball at 25-42, sunk to the bottom. You're 13 games over 500 and then just lose it. Why? I'll tell you why. During that stretch, they had the worst offense in all of baseball, averaging 3.37 runs per game. Gabe Kapler loses his job. This whole big, super coaching staff where we got X amount of coaches for X amount of players. We're hearing rumblings of continuity's terrible in the clubhouse. This isn't working. So all these coaches didn't lead to continuity. Start changing the staff, and you're trying to rely on old faithful Bob Melvin to kind of get you back to normalcy, because it was not normal there. We'll ask Bay Area Radio Hall of Famer Marty Lurie about it. But you're taking on water, man, and they couldn't figure it out. They had how many coaches?
15, somewhere around there.
They couldn't figure it out. They had like a coach for almost every player. They couldn't figure out why they were taking on water.
Yeah, now Kapler's the assistant GM of the Marlins.
It's crazy. 25-42 from July 19th on, the worst record in baseball. So we'll talk about that today. But spring training, our old friend, A's Hall of Famer Steve Vucinich stopped by, and we hadn't played it yet. So you decided we got to get Vuce on.
Yeah, we had him, and he's always a good interview. He has good stories, and it was, as Matty Weiss told us, he's always around, because we asked Matty to come on. Our new
Matty will not come on.
He will not come on. He goes, I'm not Vuce. I don't need the spotlight.
He's not coming on. I have tried, and I have tried. There's people that trust me, I try and get everybody. Like, I can't get Mickey Morabito on. I've asked for years. Oh, this was the funniest thing about yesterday. So A's showed up first. So the A's show up to Goodyear. So everybody comes walking in from right field. It's spring training, right? Everybody comes walking in from right field. They get dropped off. Then all of a sudden, Cleveland, they're somewhere on their backfields, wherever they are. All of a sudden, Cleveland shows up. Play a little catch. Umpires show up at spring training, right? There's no BP on the field. These guys are all doing things on backfields, and the A's did all their stuff over in Mesa, and Cleveland's doing their stuff on the backfield. It's hilarious. It's like a high school game. It really is. That's what's so cool about spring training. It's like no one was in the ballpark. We're just sitting up there in the press box. Okay, well, man. Next thing you know, A's show up, stretch play catch. Cleveland shows up, stretch plays catch. And it's no one's grinding it, right? It's just light catch, light whatever. Umpires show up. And the crowd, it's almost like the parents show up, school's over. It's like a high school game. Everybody's out of class, and now we go to the field and play. It's hilarious. Well, right behind home plate, Mark Kotsay comes out. Stephen Vogt comes out. Huge hug. Coaches come over, hug. Stephen Vogt means a lot to this franchise. And it was really cool to see. And we played the Stephen Vogt interview from the winter meetings. And Stephen Vogt is a special guy, and we're pulling like hell for him. I've never ever thought I'd be rooting for Cleveland. I have no connection to Cleveland other than Ray Fosse. I'm rooting like hell for him. And the funniest part was when it's all said and done, the last two men standing behind home plate before we're gonna throw out the first pitch is Mickey Morabito and Stephen Vogt. Mickey, who always says he wants to be behind the scenes, always is on the field and always in everything. Our traveling secretary, the legend of Mickey Morabito, who will be an A's Hall of Famer someday.
I agree, 100%. And that's kind of funny you mentioned that. Just from seeing it when we're at the Coliseum. Now, I missed it yesterday. Obviously, I wasn't it wasn't in Goodyear.
Yeah.
But that's actually pretty funny, because I've been around when we try to get Mickey on. He's like, no, you don't want to hear from me.
Oh yeah. He's on. No. Oh, really? You and Stephen Vogt are out there as the umpires are ready to say play ball, Mr. I don't want to be a part of anything. It's hilarious, but it was a great moment. And you can't make it up how Stephen Vogt goes from the quality control coach to all of a sudden manager of the Cleveland Guardians. And the first game is against the Oakland Athletics in Oakland. You can't make it up. The baseball gods, right?
Yeah.
How else do you explain it? There's 29 other teams Cleveland could have opened up against. 29 other teams.
Could have been the Twins. Could have been the Royals. White Sox. I'm just looking.
Could have been the Marlins.
Reds.
Could have been Giants, Padres, Mets, Nationals. It could have been, it could have been anybody.
Rockies.
I'm
thinking of like
Stephen
random.
Vogt's debut, Coors Field against the Rock Pile.
I'm just thinking of random teams. Yes.
Rocktober, as they used to call it. What year was that? They went to the World Series against the Red Sox?
06? No, 07.
Rocktober.
07.
Our guy Dan O'Dowd, my favorite. I love Dan O'Dowd. I love him. We got to get him on at some point.
Oh, we will. Don't worry.
That's my guy on MLB Network. Whenever you got to get serious, like they have to serious conversations, they always go, ex-players, you guys are great. Bring Dan O'Dowd in because he's going to tell you how it really works. How to deal with ownership, how to deal with players, how to deal with contracts, how to deal with all that. They got, hey, Al Leiter, it's great. You're a lot of fun. Great hair still. See you later. Carlos Pena, you're good looking. We love you. See ya. Ron Darling, back to the Mets booth. Now time for Dan O'Dowd. But, Stephen Vogt will be making his big league managerial debut in Oakland. And my question will be, when he walks out to the mound to do a pitching change, will the chance I believe in Stephen Vogt come out? I
heard him yesterday.
They were out yesterday. Yeah, our fans kind of took over the ballpark yesterday. But I just wonder, when he's doing it during the regular season, will I believe in Stephen Vogt come out?
I think it will, yes.
And what will that be like for him? Like, let the series marinate, let him leave town, and then when he comes back again, go, what was that like? That experience, his experiences with around the A's are amazing. This is just a whole nother, this just adds to his chapter, his making his debut as a manager against the A's.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how that happens. And if when the fans are, will it happen opening day? Will it happen not?
All right, here is A's Hall of Famer, Steve Vucinich. Gentlemen, we are here with an absolute A's legend. He's an Oakland A's Hall of Famer. He is back. I'm not going to say out of retirement because you're still retired, Vuz, but you're back here at your old stomping grounds. Just came to hang out and shake some hands, hug some people, sign some autographs, kiss some babies. How are you, Hall of Famer?
I'm not running for office. I'm doing great. It's good to come back and see all the people that I miss on a daily basis. You and your staff, Cody, everybody. Saw Brody Brazil. He and I are going into the Castro Valley Sports Hall of Fame together in April.
Are you really?
Yeah. And,
nice.
And see him and my old staff and the coaches and the skipper. So, it's good to come back and, hey, look around the stadium. It's beautiful.
You're going in the Castro Valley High School Hall of Fame or just the Castro Valley Hall of Fame?
Castro Valley Sports Hall of Fame.
Sports Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Wow. You're now racking up the Hall of Fame.
That's that'll be my fourth one. I do the Cactus League Hall of Fame here.
That's coming up. I was going to ask you about that.
March 15th.
So you're going to be in the A's Hall of Fame, the Castro Valley Sports Hall of Fame, the Cactus League Hall of Fame, and what's the fourth?
Fourth one I was inducted in about 6-7 years ago because of Michael Milken, and I helped him buy the jerseys for his staff and everything, so he put me in the Prostate Cancer Research Hall of Fame. I didn't donate any body parts or any testing or anything, but that was the first of 4. So
that's big time. That is absolute big time.
Well, he's a billionaire.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see you.
Nice to be seen.
How's retirement treating you?
It's great. Somebody asked me the other day, do you set the alarm anymore? I said early tea times and doctor appointments. That's it.
That's it. That's good living right there.
Absolutely. I sleep till I want. Somebody said with maybe a couple guys down here being sick in the clubhouse, you want to come in? I said, not till 9.
So when you think about it, I mean, it still is so special when we get to see and you come back to Oakland, especially for the Hall of Fame induction ceremony weekend. I mean, do you still just is it still like wow that you're an A's Hall of Famer?
Absolutely. I mean, you look at the other guys that are in there.
Yes, Hall
That's
of
the whole
Famers.
thing. I mean, I'm a sock and jock guy just picking up stuff all the time off the floor, and now I get to wear the green jacket.
With Reggie Jackson, Ricky Henderson. I mean, some of the greatest players who've ever played the game. Dennis Eckersley. It's amazing. Raleigh Fingers.
Right. There's 4 Hall of Famers right there in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, in the Baseball Hall of Fame to go along with. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. You know, I wanted to ask you about what we're seeing here right now, because you know of all the noise and all the stuff that's going on around this organization and away from the actual baseball field. But this is something you've experienced since the A's moved here and they moved out west, is a team that no one believes in. And then all of a sudden you start looking at young talent and a young core that's been coming. This is another core that's been playing together. All these guys know each other. You've read this script before.
I have. We saw that in the 70s with those championship teams. Those guys, even though they signed in Kansas City, they played together in the minor leagues, all flourishing and coming to fruition in Oakland, winning the championships there. And then we had a group in the early 80s that won a division, made the playoffs with the Murphy and the Hendersons and Mike Davis, Steve McCaddies. And then later in the 80s, too, with the McGuire, Canseco's, those guys all played together. Terry Steinbeck in the minor leagues. So, and then, you know, advancing about another 10 years from there, 15 years. And we had all these guys come up here with Melvin as a manager and made the playoffs 6 times in 11 or 12 years. So you see it. You know, they're like family. They play together in the minor leagues, and sure, somebody will get traded, somebody get released, but the core stays together. And that's the core you count on, that you want to teach others how to win. And we've got a good core right now. I like it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I've been trying to tell people today. Some people think I'm crazy. I'm like, no, you got to understand how things work every couple of years. And the way this talent, I mean, if they can get, you know, the name of the game now, I mean, you grew up in this game and where you were used to guys pitching 300 innings, if not 250, where we talked about winning 20 games. Now, I just look at if the A's can somehow find guys to give them innings. I don't care what your ERA is. Can you not burn out the bullpen, and can you give this team innings? If that's the case, they got a shot to win far more games than they did last year.
Well, I think bringing in those veterans that we got now, that's a big thing. Eat up the innings, keep the game close. You never know what's going to happen at the end. So, you know, the game's cyclical. You go through good times, bad times, but it all comes down to pitching and defense. I like our numbers up the middle with Langoliers and everybody else, second baseman, the shortstop. Nicky's great. I just hope he can hit a little bit, because he's as good as you're ever going to see out there.
Yeah, and Geloff, you've been around a long time. Geloff, to me, he reminds me of a young Ryan Sandberg, which is I like it as a comp, a bigger second baseman. Remember, Sandberg could run when he was young. Geloff can run. Power to all fields, solid defensively. Sandberg was great defensively. We'll see how good Geloff can be, but you know, as a bigger second baseman, that's what he reminds me of. And I know for a lot of our younger audience, they don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, who's Ryan Sandberg?
But a young Ryan Sandberg, Hall of Famer, he was phenomenal.
He was, and I forgot how big he was. I remember he came into Oakland for the '87 All-Star game as a Chicago Cub, and no interleague. There wasn't a lot of games on TV then. They were just really, ESPN was getting it televised, and forgot how big he is. And you just reminded me. And there aren't a lot of big second basemen, but he can handle it. He's done well.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this season. I mean, because after last season, I mean, Vuce, if you're going to pick up and leave, you picked up at the right time, because last 2 years have been rough. But last year, when it, you know, you lose 50 games, and you know what it's like traveling with the team when it's struggling. It's hard on everybody.
Sure. And, you know, it was the right time to walk out. I had done my 54. I wanted to do some other things. And I had a good trained staff that I was leaving behind. And hand off the ball and the keys to the place and let them run with it and be a part of this new generation coming up. And they're part of it like I was in the 70s and the 80s.
Is there anything that you miss?
I miss seeing all you people every day, not just the media, but my staff, the in spring training, all the sporting goods manufacturers, Rawlings, Wilson, Adidas, all those guys coming in. And we would see them periodically throughout the season, whether it be in Chicago or LA, Anaheim, whatever. And I just miss seeing all those people. So that's what I miss. I don't miss the hours. The travel is easy. I got spoiled. I had an empty first-class seat next to me. We got off the plane, went on a bus, went to Four Seasons or Ritz-Carlton or whatever, and then our luggage shows up. So the travel part was easy. And being on the West Coast, a lot of our getaway days were day games, so we'd get back home by 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, where if you're in the Midwest, you're playing a night game, you're not getting back into the covers till 3 or 4 in the morning.
That's harsh.
Yep.
that is harsh. Well, you know, we miss seeing you, my friend. When are we going to tee it up?
We got to do that one of these days.
Yeah,
give me a little more advance notice.
I mean, you got every single time I've tried to book. I remember one time I tried to book dinner with you. You're like, "Oh, sorry, I got to go to dinner." It was Tony La Russa, Walt Jocketty, and somebody else. I mean, I always get bumped for celebs.
Well, you know what? You're not, and I'm not pulling the plug on us having a chance to do that. But those guys have been my friend. I know Tony since 1968. He was a weak hitting pinch hitter on that team. He got the first pinch hit in Oakland A's history. Walt Jocketty's been a friend of mine since 1980. So it's not like I'm saying, hey, I got to go with these big guys. I'm going with friends.
If I was a baseball Hall of Famer, how would that have changed things?
You'd have to wait till after I go to lunch or dinner with you, Towny.
All right. Can we do it soon? At least let me treat you at least in the Bay Area.
Okay, we'll do something. That's good. I'm going to be back there for opening day, and I'm back in April, and I still got my place in Castro Valley, so I've got a place to go, and I'll be around.
Congratulations on all the Hall of Fames,
Thank you.
2 new Hall of Fames that you're going to be going to, and the Cactus League Hall of Fame ceremony is going to be here, correct?
Right here before the game on the 15th with the Giants. I picked that day so I could look over in the Giants dugout and just see Bob Melvin go, not another one.
Yeah. Well, you're a treasure. You're an A's Hall of Famer.
You're too kind.
You mean a lot to the organization. You always will. You mean so much to everybody here, and it's just an honor to call you a friend. And glad the health is good. The ticker's good. You're back.
Good.
You're back, and we will see you soon. And congratulations on everything.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be with you guys.
Great Steve Vucinich, A's Hall of Famer, right here on A's Cast. We got more of A's Cast Live next.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, join your team this spring in Mesa. With nonstop flights direct from Oakland, there's never been a better time to head to the Southwest. Surrounded by the stunning Sonoran Desert, spring training fans know why Arizona is the perfect spring break escape. Miles of trails, shoreline, and sunshine combined for an unforgettable Arizona adventure. There's simply no shortage of things to do, see, and discover in Mesa. Get your visitor's guide at visitmesa.com.
Nestled in the hills of San Jose, minutes from Silicon Valley, Cinnabar Hills Golf Club offers 27 holes of championship golf, a first-class pro shop, practice facility, and great food in the grill. This time of year also means family and business get-togethers. Let the folks at Cinnabar Hills make your event unforgettable while enjoying their award-winning venue. It's all there for you. Championship golf, a great space for any events, and incredible food. See it all at CinnabarHills.com. That's CinnabarHills.com.
This is Chris Townsend. There are 2 things that are a must for me: comfort and style. Whether I'm playing golf, going to dinner, I've got to have the right feel. That's why I've partnered with Linksole, and you're going to love Linksole. They have just released their new spring line, new fabrics for their polos, lightweight and perfect for technical performance. Linksole also has new styles for their layers and hoodies with cool prints and seasonal colors. You know what they say in the big leagues: look good, play good. Go to Linksole.com. That's Linksole.com.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Ever since we got Xfinity, we have Wi-Fi all over the house, even in my hiding spots.
Ha! Found you.
How?
That's wall-to-wall Wi-Fi from Xfinity. Now through March 21st, get started with 200 megabit internet for $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and get Wi-Fi equipment included. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Requires paperless bill and auto-pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
Streaming from the studio, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
All righty, we head back down to Arizona, the Valley of the Sun, to talk to our guy Johnny Doskow on the call today at Athletics and Giants from Hohokam Park. Johnny, how are you?
I'm good, but I miss you already, man. I got to be honest. It wasn't the same today. It wasn't the same today without you. I got to be honest with you. But sorry, come back.
My heart and my head feel the exact same way. My stomach needed to get away from you.
No doubt. I'm gonna have a nice healthy salad tonight. Get away from Towny. I'm gonna have a nice healthy salad. Try to play for the tie tomorrow. But today I'm gonna gain. I'm gonna gain. Lose, but gain. You know what I mean?
So you're not gonna wolf down a bunch of tacos and a stuffed chileriano?
No, not at the best place in the business. No, I'm not. No,
with queso, chips, salsa. You're not ultra carb meals anymore?
That's all we did, man. That's all we did. It was great.
Oh, my God. We ate great, but it was like, man, at some point, yeah, you got to you know what? As much as I love you, we needed a little breakup. We need a little
break. Doesn't matter. Brings us closer. Exactly, Towny. Exactly.
Yeah, just eating Mexican food and drinking coffee all day long isn't healthy.
Nope, not the greatest. Nope.
Interesting today, we talked about, Monday when I got a chance to chat with Mitch Spence, all about opportunity and all about making it tough for the front office. And something that you and I addressed, and I want to address it now, and Hernandez is back in the lineup today. We saw him at short at Camelback Ranch against the Dodgers. We saw him yesterday at third base, back at shortstop. I mean, obviously, this is his time to plant the seed in the front office's head saying, hey, man, I'm ready to go now.
No question. I had a chance to visit with him today for a little while, and he is just so happy to be at big league camp, but he's not satisfied just to be here. He wants to he does have that kind of championship mentality, that winning mentality, and he's super excited to be here. But again, he's not just happy to be here. He wants to contribute. He wants to get the big leagues. He's hit everywhere he's gone, Towny. Everywhere he's gone, he's hit. He feels the big league is going to be no exception. And he's going to play, he'll play some third base. He'll play shortstop today, but he can play some third. And I wouldn't be surprised. I don't necessarily think he's going to break camp with the club, but I think we'll see him in the first half of this big league season. I'm not going to say that.
And it's something that you don't think about, like when we think about like Ryan Noda being a Rule 5 pick and getting a chance to get away from the Dodgers and come to the A's and play. Well, Hernandez is the same thing. Johnny, they're loaded in Baltimore. Where was he going to play? I mean, they are loaded everywhere with more guys coming. He was completely blocked. So for Hernandez to get out of that loaded system and all that young talent at the big league level, we saw it last year, and I don't care. People are calling the Yankees the favorite in the East, and I think that's crazy. I'm still going Baltimore. But for Hernandez to get out of the Orioles system reminds me a lot of what we saw with Ryan Noda.
It was huge. I would say not as extreme, but I do see what you're saying. I think that in Hernandez's mind, he never thought he was blocked. This kid is so confident, Towny. I mean, he is so confident. He thinks he could win a job really against anybody. So, but you're right, though. There is an opportunity here in Oakland that probably wouldn't have presented itself this early in Baltimore. So, look, we like what we see so far in Hernandez. He's one of those batting practice you don't miss. You got to see him hit in batting practice, and then you see him in the game, and has a great approach. And they're going to find a place for this kid at some point because I think he's a special talent.
And excited to see Paulie Winday, Paul Blackburn on the mound.
Yeah,
today.
that's right. Paulie Blackburn going to pitch today. We're going to see Scotty Alexander today. So that's going to be exciting for him to pitch against his former team, and he's looking forward to getting those ground balls as efficient as he can. And I'm looking forward to this. Anytime Paul Blackburn takes the mound, it's always fun. And it's a big, look, he's not really being talked about that much, Paul Blackburn. You hear about everybody's talking about Stripling and Wood and everybody else, but no one's really talking about Blackburn. Joe Boyle's getting a lot of play, but Paul Blackburn, he's obviously going to be in this rotation to start the year, most likely. So I'm excited to see what Paulie B can do today.
The reaction that I guess we won't see the game. There's no television today anywhere, right?
No TV, no.
Can I just say seeing Bob Melvin in a Giants uniform?
You don't like that?
Oh, God.
That's tough, huh?
Just going to say it. Too soon? Too soon?
I don't think so. I think you're right on track with that.
I mean, I was a kid when Bob Melvin was a San Francisco Giant. Like, what years was Melvin with the Giants? It was the early 80s, right? Because he wasn't there he wasn't there when they were getting good in the late 80s.
86 to 88.
86 to 80. Okay, so he was. But he really didn't play a lot. I don't really remember. I was in high school. I don't remember Bob Melvin really as the backup catcher for the San Francisco Giants. So for the people he's coming back home, I remember Will Clark and Robbie Thompson and the Boogie Bear, Kevin Mitchell. I don't remember Bob Melvin, the Giant.
220 hitter and 265 games.
Exactly. Now see Bob Melvin in a Giants uniform.
Plus for you, Towny, you know him. You got close to him when he was an Athletic, so you don't think of him as a Giant, bro. You think of him in the green and gold, right?
But I will say this, because yes, I know Bob very well. All those years doing the Bob Melvin show, just got to know him real well. He's a great man, just a great man. I mean, he's put it this way: when my kids got into a certain school, they don't want me talking about it. He was one of the first guy I texted because he's known my kids since they were just little girls, and couldn't be more thrilled for them. But I'm very happy to know how dysfunctional that situation was in San Diego. I'm happy. I'll put it this way: I'm happy Bob got out. Yeah. I really, for his career, where he is, this is kind of the last hurrah for Bob, right? This is really his last chance to win a championship. And, we talk so much about these future Hall of Fame managers. If Bob Melvin could get a championship, being a 3-time manager of the year, could put him possibly in that conversation. Yeah. For Bob personally, I'm just happy he got out of San Diego, because that is really a toxic, bad situation.
No question, Towny. And look, how great is it the fact that he grew up in the Bay Area? Say what you want about the Giants, but the fact that he's managing 2 Bay Area teams after growing up in the Bay Area, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that he's able to say that.
He grew up an A's fan, though. Let's not forget.
Yes, he did.
Grew up an A's fan, played for the Giants, but he grew up an A's fan. Yes. He's got to play that Giant thing now, but we all know he grew up an A's fan. Today, Noda's leading off today, correct? Am I seeing this right?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Noda's leading off.
It's so interesting because he's an on-base machine, and he runs better than you think. Yes. He's a big dude. I always compare him to like an athletic inside linebacker. He's like an inside linebacker who can stuff the run and play in coverage. I mean, he's a big guy that can run. It's so interesting because you want your leadoff guy to be the guy that gets on base the most, and who gets on base the most? It's Ryan Noda.
No question. By the way, he would love that analogy you just said. He would love that. So you ever said that to him, he would dig that. But I'll tell you what, have him in, leadoff position is different than it was back in the day, right? You want guys to get on base, and he's a guy that gets on base. What does he do?
What's he do?
He gets on base.
He gets on base.
Exactly. He gets on base. So yeah, no, he loves being that leadoff spot too. He loves that. And setting the table for guys. Geloff in 2 slot, Bleday batting 3rd. I think Bleday busts out today. That's my pick to click today, Towny. I think Bleday, it's going to be Bleday's day.
Brought to you by do we have a sponsor for that?
I don't know, but Johnny, I think that's a new thing you do every day. Pick to click. But Johnny D.
Done.
Brought to you by Mangos, Mexican restaurant in downtown Mesa.
Right. Yes. Everything's brought to you by Mangoes. Everything.
Our new spot. Here's something that's interesting. Have you noticed that whenever we see our man Ruiz, it's in left field?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I have to say, you kind of called that, Towny, last year. You said we're going to see him in the corners, and then we have. And look, in center field, look Blade, they talk about Blade. Blade's not a better left fielder than Blade, let's be honest. But Blade can play some center field. He's athletic enough to play center field. But I think more and more you may see Ruiz on the corners and not in center field.
Blade told us really his favorite is right.
It is. It is. Yeah.
I mean, he can play anywhere. He's a great athlete. But like if you could, like in a perfect world, if everybody played well and everything was going right, like you could have old Esty in left, have Law in center, Blade in right. Like if it could be like a perfect world, but then you got to think about Seth Brown if he's hitting home runs, where that would be, and Rooker's probably going to DH. But if you want to just talk about athleticism, and you'd be like, okay, this is an outfield that's going to track down a lot of balls.
Yeah.
Esty in left, Law in center, and Blade in right.
That's pretty solid. You talk about athletes, those three. That you're right, Towny. That's a pretty athletic combination of those three guys in the outfield, and they all can play. All three can play all three positions. So you're right. That's a pretty good luxury for Mark to have for sure.
Now let's talk a little bit about the Giants, because you've seen. I got to think that quite a few of the guys that we're going to be watching. I haven't seen their lineup or what they got rolling, but I got to think a lot of these young guys that the Giants are trying out that you got to see while doing the games in AAA.
You'd be surprised, Towny. Not really. I mean, I saw Lamont Wade Jr., obviously. I never saw Fitzgerald. I saw Yaz. I saw Yastrzemski when he busted out after being in the Orioles system for so long. And then he, he's at 88 career home runs now in his 4 or 5 years. And J.D. Davis, I never saw. Murphy, of course, was with Seattle. Wade Meckler just came up. His name, Donovan Walton, is a guy that was with the River Cats when I was there, but you'd be surprised even after 2 years, not too many guys that I know. Pitching staff a little bit more. But yeah, Joey Bart's on the trading block. They're going to deal him at some point. I saw David Villar, Casey Schmidt a little bit, but not too many. You'd be surprised. Not too many. Just looking at this roster, they've changed a lot over the last 2 years.
Well, you just crapped on that question, huh?
Well, I'm just being honest. We have that relationship. We have that relationship, Towny. I'll be honest with you.
You could have lied, said Kyle Harrison's my favorite player. Oh man, he was great.
Bro, you would see right through me if I said something like that. You'd be like, "Oh, Doskow, come on, no way, no chance."
Conforto and I go back to his Mets days. We were drinking beers back in Lucy or something like that, or the Mets. All right. Well, will be interesting today to see the Giants. Is today the day that Vuce goes into the Cactus League Hall of Fame? Is that today? Or is that later on in spring?
I thought it might have been later on.
I think it's later on in the spring. Yeah, it's later
maybe
on.
Maybe like a Saturday game.
Yeah. Well, we had them get on like the 15th or something when the game's on NBC Sports when we play the Giants. I think that's when one of the games is. So it could be one of those games coming up.
Well, I'll tell you, Johnny, it is shocking that here's a team that was 13 games over 500 on July 18th, right in the thick of it, right? At one point, they were the lead dog in the wild card race. And from July 19th on, they had the worst record in baseball and the worst offense. Shocking.
It was shocking. They do say that the clubhouse dynamic with Melvin in there, obviously, I mean, it's not hard to believe that, but they do say that the clubhouse chemistry is way better right now than it was last year. Better with Melvin at the helm than last year.
And probably the thing that you talk about with the A's camp, we've mentioned so much about athleticism. There's athleticism ever. You and Cody probably had more stolen bases last year than the San Francisco Giants with the new rules.
Well, Cody gets that. Don't sleep on Cody. I mean, Cody may not steal a lot of bases, but I'd take him going first to third on a single, first home on a double. That's Cody. He's a smart base runner.
I was a good base runner. I've slimmed down a little bit in the last couple of weeks, Johnny.
I'm saying the two of you, the Giants only stole 50. Think about this. We've set rules Pitcher can only throw over twice before he's got to get you the third timer. It's a balk. We got a pitch timer. So as a runner, you can be looking at the pitcher going, all right, 6, 5, 4. He's not throwing over. I'm gone, right? And you got pizza boxes that are like large pizza boxes out there. Everything says steal, steal, steal. Giants only stole 57 bags.
Wow. Yeah, that team is
crazy.
Yeah, and the lineup, I mean, you look at this lineup now, I mean, Meckler can run a little bit, but they don't have a lot of.
And by the way, Estrada stole 23 of them. So only one guy was stealing. I mean, we set the game up to steal bases. They couldn't play D. They couldn't steal bases. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you make a case for the Giants to track down the Dodgers. I just don't see how.
You can't make that case. There's no. I mean, you're playing for the wild card there. There's no. They're not going to. The Dodgers win that division, right? I mean, I don't think Diamondbacks will have another good year, I think, but yeah, I can't see the Dodgers not winning that division.
All right, Cody, you got to get on camera here because it's time to play Know Your Giants. Yesterday, got to say, Johnny was phenomenal with Know Your Guardians Indians yesterday against Cleveland. Very impressive, Johnny. Very impressive.
You were impressive. I ran some of these by Towny earlier, and I didn't realize he was such a big Giants historian. So let's see how you do with these questions.
I'm no
Johnny.
Marty Lurie.
All right, first question, Johnny. Who was the Giants starting pitcher for the first ever game at Oracle Park in 2000? Sorry, it would have been SBC Global or Pac Bell.
Would have been Pac Bell.
I'm going to say Jason Schmidt.
No.
That is incorrect. That is not Pirate legend Jason Schmidt. It's Woody Kirk Reeder.
By the way, on that day against the Dodgers when Kevin Elster would hit 3 home runs,
yes,
who was the first person to ever broadcast that morning in Pac Bell Park history?
The broadcast that morning, the morning, I'm going to say Chris Townsend.
Chris Townsend opened up the Gary Radnich show, as I did every single morning before Gary would show up. I was the first ever person to speak into a microphone on that official day that they opened up Pac Bell Park. I'm
1 for 2 then. That was part of the trivia. I'm 1 for 2.
I opened up the KMBR morning show that morning.
All right, next one. Johnny, how many different starting left fielders have the Giants had since Barry Bonds last played for the team? Opening day starting left fielders.
Opening day, okay. I'm going to say
we won't include this year because that hasn't happened yet.
Okay, I'm going to say 14.
Well, close. 17 different starting left fielders on opening day.
That's nuts.
Blake Sable was the guy that did it last year.
That's nuts. I had no idea. I mean, since Bonds, I'd still take Bonds.
That's not a bad call to take Bonds.
I'd still take Bonds out. How old is Bonds now?
50 something.
I'd take Bonds right now over.
Bonds is 60 now. No, I think it'll be 60 this year. Yeah, it'll be 60 this year.
Bonds is going to be 60.
Wow.
All
right. Speaking of Barry Bonds, how many career home runs does Barry Bonds have at the ballpark down there in San Francisco? Oracle Park now.
Total?
Career home runs at Oracle Park.
A lot.
Oh, my gosh, man.
No idea, but that's a lot.
That's a cheap question there, man. I'd say, God, at Oracle, 268.
According to what I found online, it says 160.
Really?
That's low.
Dude, he's got 700 something home runs. He's got to have more than that.
Well, he played with the Pirates in the 80s, so Oracle Park wasn't built to 2000.
He's got 700 something home runs.
Yeah, but I mean,
how many home runs did he have going into Oracle Park?
I mean, I'll look it up to see how many.
300?
Let me look.
Well, I guess. How many did he hit on the road?
Also, I mean, All
right, well, there's a question mark around that.
Yeah.
There's an asterisk around this.
Yeah,
I'll look it up, but I'll go to the next question. All right, next question, Johnny. How many splash hits have there been by a Giants player at Oracle Park?
They keep a tally.
They do.
Keep a tally.
Is it 102?
Wow, Johnny, right on the nose, 102.
Oh, wow, Johnny D, had a baby.
No pun intended, right on the nose, Johnny
God,
D.
that is good.
That
is.
All right, bonus. Who was the last guy to hit one out? Last Giant to hit one out.
Oh, the last splash hit?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Jock Peterson.
Close. It was a left-handed hitter, but it was not Jock. It was Mike Yastrzemski who did it last year.
Doesn't matter. Johnny, the fact you got that is fabulous. Absolutely fabulous.
Thank you.
Okay. All right,
I had no clue.
All right, Johnny.
And as my good friend Rick Barry said on my show, I could not care less.
I mean, it's still pretty impressive that you knew that answer.
That is impressive.
All right, quick bonus. Who was the first opposing player to have a splash hit at Oracle Park? It's a Dodger, but
it's a Dodger.
We won't count this for you, Johnny, if you don't get it.
Oh, it's a Dodger, huh?
Dodger. He's left-handed.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Sean Green.
It wasn't Sean Green, huh?
Sean Green. I picked Sean Green. I want to help you, Johnny. It was not Sean Green.
I don't know. Tell me.
Todd Hundley.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have never got that.
I wouldn't have got that. Yeah, no chance.
Okay.
I remember Piazza. Wasn't Piazza the first right-handed guy to go in there?
I'd have to look that
I
one
think
up.
Piazza was the first right-handed. He was a Met.
Which two Giants closers have the single season saves record at 48?
I got this.
Two Giants singles. Rob Nen?
No.
No.
Wow. Brian Wilson?
That's one. 2010.
Okay. And
Come on, this guy was the best. Smoking heaters.
Oh yeah.
Heart darts.
Beck.
Yes.
Rod Beck. Shooter.
All right, Johnny, a couple more. We'll do this quickly. Rapid fire. Who was the final out of the 1989 World Series? That was when the A's beat the Giants.
I got this one.
In the Babe Ruth series in the World Series. Who was the final out?
Oh, when Eckersley stepped on the bag.
Oh yeah.
Good little player, good hitter.
Yeah, very good. He was a terrific player.
I don't know. God, I don't know.
Brett Butler.
Tony Phillips to Dennis Eckersley. Brett Butler.
Brett Butler, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
First Giants player ever to be in the Hall of Fame, elected into the Hall of Fame.
I did not get this. I was close.
Is it Ross Youngs?
According to the research I did, it's Christy Mathewson.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I went Mel Ott.
Okay, Mel Ott's a good one.
Yeah.
Last one. Who was the first Giants player to ever have 7 hits in a game? Spoiler, it was recently. Which is
Brandon Crawford.
Wow, B-Craw, forever Giant. Johnny knew that one.
Forever Giant. B-Craw.
Don't go.
Oh, no. It's like Jack Clark leaving. Oh, no.
So that's it, Johnny. And by the way, I looked it up, did the research. The research is correct. Barry Bonds, 160 home runs at Oracle Park.
Dude, how many did he hit on the road during that time?
The next closest he has home runs.
San Diego, he dominated.
He hit 140 at Candlestick.
How many did he hit at Qualcomm?
39. That was his next best, besides PNC Park. Sorry, Three Rivers.
Qualcomm, he owned the Padres. Owned them.
Bonds at the Coliseum. Remember, they didn't play there that much. 8 career home runs at the Coliseum.
What do you hit at Coors Field?
Coors Field, according to this, they only had 4.
No, that's Miller.
Oh, Mile High.
That's Denver.
Before Coors. Okay,
that's the Broncos.
26.
26. Okay. And plus, what do you do at the Denver at Mile High?
At the Mile High, he had 4, so he 30.
Hit 30. That would be tied for the most, right?
One of the most, yeah.
One of the most, yeah.
He tied with Montreal.
He was a Pirate, yeah. He was just Bonds ripped up everybody for. I mean, he's
no doubt.
He's the best hitter you've ever seen. No doubt.
No question.
Johnny, hey, have a great broadcast today.
All right. Love you guys.
And Johnny, the last 2 days, you've stepped your game up. That 102 on splash hits, that's good.
Thanks, man. Hey, Towny, I loved working with you, buddy. That was fun. Really enjoyed it.
Great. We should do it more. We should do it a couple more times.
Yeah, it was great, man. Great to work with you.
All right, you guys have a good call.
All right, see you guys.
See you, Johnny.
Johnny D, that was strong.
I'm very impressed with his. Well, you guys are.
What did I say when you asked me that? I said like 130, 120.
Yeah, something. I think it was like 1.
I was shocked. Only 102.
Yeah, I think you said. I think you said 114 or something.
And they're like majority are all Bonds.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes.
Panda's got to have some.
I had the list.
Panda's back.
Panda's back. Yeah, with B-Craw gone, insert Panda to have some assault. By the way, I think the Giants' last series of the year is the Cardinals at Oracle Park, so he'll get a standing ovation all 3 days.
The last series win?
This year. I believe the last series they play at Oracle Park, like in the regular season, the Cardinals come to town.
Do you really think Brandon Crawford will be on the Cardinals though at the end of the season?
He's only making $2 million, so I don't know.
He's kind of.
I'm going to say yes for this. For the sake of this story, yes.
Okay, all right. Don't let the facts get in the way of a good story, as we said in journalism school. Yeah, he's an insurance policy.
I don't even know who their starting shortstop is, man. Is it Tommy Edman?
Edman's been hurt, right? They got some kid who's a no-hit guy. Good glove, no hit.
It's not Paul DeYoung anymore.
No, let's see. Who do they got here?
I'm kind of
some kid named Wynn. He's a rookie.
Oh, Mason Wynn.
Shows plus hit tool, elite speed, but he didn't hit.
He's a prospect, yeah.
So if he can't go, B. Craw's there for insurance. So I doubt B. Craw.
He's a 2020 second-round draft pick, so he's super young.
I doubt B. Craw will be there the final series of the year. He may play for somebody else. I mean, Brandon Crawford still wants to play. People will get injured. Brandon Crawford will, if he still wants to play, he will have a job.
Will the Brandons be back? Brandon Bell hasn't signed anywhere yet.
No. Still a lot of guys haven't signed. Are we going to be able? Is A's Cast big enough to have not one but two San Francisco Bay Area Radio Hall of Famers?
I guess we'll find out.
I mean, we're talking legends on the mic here. When you talk about our own voice of the Oakland Athletics, and then a man that, to me, when you think about the history of baseball, there's nobody better than Marty Lurie. And I always love talk about going to the Negro League Museum in Kansas City, baseball museum, and you walk in there, and Marty Lurie is one of the voice of the pieces there. I'll never forget that. He and Vida Blue. I mean, you're talking about legends here. Is it big enough? A's Cast big enough?
Well, let's find out.
Will it be able? Will our frequency be able to handle it?
Let's find out.
There we are. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Towny, we're just living in Marty's world. That's what it is.
Well, I mean, to have both of you at the same time, I mean, I'm not joking. I mean, you look at your guys' illustrious careers, obviously, Ken, what you've done in the Bay Area. Marty, from your time with the A's, now with the Giants, both of you guys have been recognized as two of the greatest baseball voices that we've had in the Bay Area. That's why you're Bay Area Radio Hall of Famers. It's an honor to have both of you on.
Well, stop.
I mean, seriously. I mean, growing up listening to Ken on the radio, it was one of my thrills to hear him and describe the game. It was great.
And have Connie Mack on the pregame show.
I had Ruth Mack. Yeah. Ruth Mack Clark. I had Connie Mack's daughter on the pregame show. That I did.
Well, what people also need to know is your guys' friendship, how strong that friendship really is.
Well, you know, Marty started doing games with the A's almost 30 years ago, his pregame show.
1998.
Yeah, and so it's kind of started then, and it's lasted for a long time. And he, like you said, you know, his depth of knowledge of the game and of the history of the game is just unsurpassed.
You know, Marty, last time we talked, I know you've been archiving. I mean, you've done more interviews than anybody in the history of the Bay Area when it comes to baseball. It is just like legendary, all the different greats over the decades that you have interviewed. Is there ever going to be a time where we're all going to be able just to go back? I mean, I just think about, I remember how great your relationship with like Torrey Hunter became. You did so many great interviews. Is there ever going to be a time where we're going to be able to go back and to listen to some of these?
I think so. We're thinking about doing some room somewhere that could have, a lot of these have now been put on a digital disc, so to speak. And we're thinking of creating a room somewhere where someone could go with a little bit of video and listen to these digital videos and interviews as well. So, yeah, it's something in the works. It really is.
You know, one thing, too, about that, Towny, if I could interject, is that when I was doing the Bill King book, Marty's archives were really instrumental because he had, I don't know, volumes of interviews with Bill.
I did.
That were just hugely, instrumental for me as far as writing the book and doing the research. And some of the stories were just, I mean, almost literally unbelievable. Like the time that Marty was on the field.
Bill.
Well, you could have been too.
No.
But
the 1944 World Series,
Right. Yeah.
Bill King was on the field warming up Mort Cooper for the St. Louis Cardinals.
What?
Bill King, he was a kid then, and he was a catcher. And Bill was standing on the rail as these players were warming up. And in those days, it was a little bit more friendly. And Mort Cooper said, "Hey, kid, come on out here." And Bill King went out on the field and warmed up with Mort Cooper in the 1944 World Series. He told me that story. It was great.
St. Louis Browns versus the St. Louis
Cardinals.
Yeah.
Wow,
It's
that
fantastic
is
stuff, man. It's really good stuff.
that is awesome. And I know, Ken, I promised you I wouldn't bring it up again, but I'm just going to do it one more time. Just one more time. Marty, what did it mean to you when you found out that Ken Korach was on the list for the Ford C. Frick?
Well, so well deserved. I've told him this for so many years. What he brings to the Bay Area, the beauty of the game, describing the game, it's what baseball broadcasting is all about. It's that voice that you welcome into your home to listen to the game. It's that familiar voice. And it's so well deserved. It's going to happen. And I took this up with Josh Rawitch from the Hall of Fame. And I said, listen, there's so many great broadcasters, and Joe Castiglione, very worthy, gets the award this year. Why not put 2 or 3 in at the same time? Why does it have to be one? And now we have to wait 3 more years to go through an election again? It's ridiculous. And when you looked at that ballot this year with Kruk and Kipe and people like that on there, why not take 3 or 4 people and put them in?
How about Kruk and Kipe? Kruk and Kipe going in together, I think.
And they deserve
I'm
it.
a proponent of that.
So
for sure.
When Ken got it, it was not a surprise. It is so well deserved. And he is one of the great voices of Bay Area baseball history. And Towny, you said it, there have been so many, and you are right up there.
Oh, I appreciate it.
No, you are.
There should be a pregame show wing, too.
Well, I've said that before. The pregame show, and first of all, nobody works harder than you. And I mean that sincerely, and I really do.
Yeah, I remember one time you got me to tears that one time, Marty. It meant so much because how much respect. Well, if people don't know, Marty has been a treasure to my family from a standpoint of Marty is always, since I got into this business and I met him, has sent me stuff and showed me stuff about my grandfather. And
hey,
I've always sent
let me ask you this. This winter, I sent you about 6 or 7 pictures.
Correct.
And I never heard from you, so I assume you got them.
I didn't
respond. One of the pictures was your grandfather with his 2 little children, which I assume one of the little girls was your mother.
Correct. That was the Wheaties picture. You know what? I'm sorry, Marty, because when you sent that to me, everything you send to me, I immediately send to my brother and my cousin. So I always take everything you send me and send it to our family. So
Good.
Everything that you've sent to me has meant so much. And that's why when you always say nice things about me, I get teary-eyed because of just what you've meant to me and my family and helped us learn more about my grandfather. And it was funny being over at Cleveland yesterday where you just start reminiscing about my grandfather hitting 2 home runs off Bob Feller in the 1948 World Series.
Great stories. Great player.
You told a great story too, Towny, about going out center field in Cleveland where they have the plaques that memorialize the Cleveland Indians, now Guardians, Hall of Famers.
Yes.
And going out there with Ray.
Yeah.
And how emotional that was for you. And Marty did, so many,
Ray?
Great pregame shows with Ray over the years that were really insightful and revealing, I thought, too.
Yeah.
I got to tell you guys, when we went out there, so Ray said, grab your mic, Towny, let's go. So I walked out there with them, and you see the Bob Feller statue and everything. And right next to Ray showed me Dwayne Kuiper's plaque is right there. It was the only time I was doing an interview with Ray where I actually saw Ray get emotional. And that plaque meant so much to him because all the years and how hard he played and how much he loved playing in Cleveland. Guys, it's the only time I ever saw on the mic Ray Fosse really get emotional. That plaque meant everything to him.
Yeah, I love working with Ray. What I would do with Ray, I would just give him a name, and then he would give you 2 or 3 minutes on the name. And we did that all the time. He was very, very supportive of what I did. I miss Ray every day. Every day.
The other thing that you've talked about too is when Bill would listen to the pregame shows, because Bill listened intently.
He was working.
He never missed a word from the time we went on the air, and how much the fact that Bill appreciated what you were doing, and how much that meant to you.
Look, I didn't know what I was doing. I'm a lawyer, and all of a sudden I'm doing baseball on the radio, right? And here I am in the booth, and 10 feet to my right is Bill King, and he's working away, and I've been talking about the game and talking about the players, and I put on interviews of players from 30 years ago that he loved, and he listened to everything I did and really gave me that validation. And then I stepped out of my lane.
How was it when you interviewed an umpire?
He didn't like umpires. I stepped out of my lane, and I interviewed an umpire. It was Jim McKeon, and he had done a no-hitter, I think, of Roy Halladay or something like that. And I put him on, and Bill, never put an umpire on ever again. All right. Then one time I said, and it was the Coliseum, and I was looking at the sky, and it was gray, and we had the background, and I said, boy, it looks like an Impressionism painting. And, of course, I know nothing about art other than I took humanities at the University of Florida. And Bill jumped up and looked at me like I was crazy because, of course, I didn't know what I was talking about. But having Bill there, listening to me, meant more to me than anything I've ever done in my life. For that validation from him, that he could think that highly of me to listen. Really.
That's incredible. Yeah, because when you have because we could talk about great broadcasters, but when you can be great at 3 sports, when you're great at because they're all different, as Ken will tell you, all the years that Ken's done football and he's done basketball, to do the NFL, the NBA, and Major League Baseball, and to be great at all 3, there's really not many human beings who in our meeting who have ever been able to do that.
Yeah, I had a lot of those moments when I was working with him, because having grown up listening to him, I had listened to him for 30 years before I was paired with him with the A's in '96, and something would happen during one of our games, and he'd give the big Holy Toledo, and I'd flash back to, Rick Barry and Nate Thurmond or something, or Stabler to Branch, or the Holy Roller, and I think, I've kind of heard that. I know that I've heard that for 30 years, so that was really
the best.
Make you think. And he says, Madden, get your big butt off the field.
I heard it the other day. They did it the other day.
Get your big butt off the field. He does.
Okay, so obviously the 3 of us all know Bob Melvin real well, and we've all had many years working with him. Marty, just what is the difference in camp now that Bob Melvin is the manager for the San Francisco?
Huge. I can't tell you how big it is. I use the word accountability. He's all baseball. He's not here to protect players. He's here to teach the game of baseball to be played the right way. You ask him a question, he answers a baseball question. He doesn't ask you a question back, which Gabe Kapler had the habit of doing. The camp runs with precision. It's all baseball. It's precise. If he's going to meet the media at 9:30, he's there at 9:28. It's just a pleasure working with him, and he loves being back in the Bay Area. Yeah. He loves it. He's a Bay Area guy. So I think the players are responding a lot more, and I think everyone is getting a fair chance, but he is on the field all the time, and it's just a total different atmosphere. If you make a mistake, he talks about it. People are accountable. It's not a country club anymore.
Well, Ken, I think you know as well as anybody, as you dealt with Bob every single day, you've dealt with a lot of managers. There's not many built like Bob Melvin.
No, he was great. And one of the best things about him was that you could ask him anything.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this before, Towny, that there are times when something happens that's controversial, that's going on with the ball club or off the field, or someone got suspended or whatever. And he always respected the fact that I had a job to do He said, you know what? I may not be able to answer the question directly. I may have to dance them out a little bit, but you can ask me whatever you want. And so I think he always respected the fact that that was part of the job, that we had a job to do, to at least ask those questions. And, with his staff, he brought Matt Williams over, of course. And then Brian Price, who really, I think, over the years, Bo Mills had a lot of good friends, might be his best friend in baseball. And Cal Bear, Brian, left-handed pitcher, and a 1984 Redwood pioneer, by the way, Brian Price. So that's kind of cool, full circle for him, being back in the Bay Area. He's from Marin, and the pitching coach for the Giants this year.
And the other one is Ryan Christensen.
Yeah,
Rhino.
He loves having Rhino around, and he's running the camp, and it's just a different atmosphere. It's just so much more organized, and the players are responding already.
And then the A's have Wood and Stripling and Alexander. So they have three Giants, ex-Giants
I wish
on
you,
their staff.
I wish you good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
I think they're going to help the A's. I really think those three guys are going to help the A's.
Good luck.
Good luck.
That wasn't a real strong affirmation right there.
Well, look, Stripling had a tough year last year. He was good in Toronto. He's got to keep the ball in the park. That's the big thing for him. Wood is a competitor. He's tough, and he'll give you those 4 or 5 solid innings. Give him the ball. He's going to take it. He's going to move the game along. He's going to get some strikeouts. I like both of them, but they didn't have good years last year. They were tough years for them last year.
They weren't comfortable with the roles they were in.
Stripling said it. No, Stripling was very vocal about it, and once that happened, he kind of went in the doghouse, and Wood too. And that was one of the issues. But I wish you the best of luck.
That could be the theme for the Giants and the A's this year. Good luck.
Seriously, it's true. Come on, the Giants have 2 pitchers. Yeah. They have Logan Webb and Kyle Harrison. And, Jordan Hicks throws 99, but he has really no finesse as a starting pitcher. And the other 2 pitchers are hurt right now. So you got to think someone on the waiver wire, Montgomery, Snell, Clevenger, Lorenzen, someone should be out there for the Giants, but we'll see what happens. But they have some, you'll see, well, you won't see him today, but Jung-Ho Lee from Korea, nice player, he's grandson of the wind. So, with a name like that, nickname like that, he's going to run. He got on base yesterday and took about a 40-foot lead off first base. I said, where's he going? He's a very aggressive player. He's in center field. Jordan Hicks is on the mound. And then, you've got Soler, who lives for one thing, swing the bat. And for the Giants, that's going to be a lot of fun to see him swing the bat.
Marty, so many times you and I have talked about the little things and how they win games. And I think how last year, the game was set up to steal bases. The Giants only stole 57, by far the fewest in baseball. At July 19th on, they had the worst offense in baseball, and they had the worst defense in baseball. So we can talk about home runs but it's the little things that they didn't do last year. Will they be able to do them this year?
Yeah, they tried to tighten the defense up. Nick Ahmed is here at short. I predict he'll be the shortstop on opening day. The outfield, Conforto is now in left, a little bit healthier than last year. Lee is in center. It's asking a lot. You're putting him in center field at Oracle. It's got to do triples alley and everything else. So we'll see how that plays out. Yastrzemski, DHing today, has got the shoulder issue. Slater in right, a little bit better, not great. I'd like to see Chapman at third. I really would. He's still out there. It's all about the money and the years and all that stuff. If Chapman could play third, Ahmed at short, Estrada at second, and Wade and Flores at first, not bad. Bailey's a pretty good catcher. But the defense killed them last year in the outfield. They couldn't catch a ball in the outfield. Now that hopefully is a little stronger this year. We'll see.
Marty, I want you to put your baseball historian hat on, and Major League Baseball is thinking about, because they want to get the starter back to throwing more innings in the game. We would all like to see that, and maybe switching the pitching staffs from saying instead of you can have 13, you can only have 12. Do you like that idea, and do you think it would work?
I think it's a question of teaching in the minor leagues to go deeper into a game. If you continuously limit the minor league pitcher to 4 innings or 60 pitches, it doesn't matter how many you have on the major league staff. You're not going to go back to 7 or 8 innings, 6, that kind of staff. So they have to teach that way. When I see them teaching that way in the minor leagues, then I'll believe it. I think that's the issue that we have to deal with. They just don't teach it.
Yeah, we heard reports, and Ken, I know we've talked to you about this, where the Dodgers, when you go to their lower levels, their guys get maybe 2-3 innings a game. That's it.
Yeah, that's the way it is, Towny. The other thing that has changed is that a lot of really good pitchers would get called up, back 2 or 3 decades ago, and they'd start in the bullpen. So if you were good enough to pitch and maybe you weren't quite ready to break into the rotation, then you would start out in the bullpen, and then you'd take over as a starter at some point down the road in your career. One thing I wanted to mention, because there's so much talk about rules changes and things and times of games, Towny, that I like an implementation of this rule that kind of nuanced. It's not a real big change. That if you've been in the game as a pitcher and you go out to warm up to start the next inning, you know how managers would do that? They'd send the pitcher out there and warm up.
Yes.
They have no intention of keeping him in the game, just to stall to bring somebody in out of the bullpen. If you go out there to warm up for the next inning, you've got to stay in the game and face at least the first batter. So I like that. It was kind of an under-the-radar change with the rules, but I like the implementation of that rule for this year.
Yeah, it's good. It deals with the pinch hitter, too.
Right.
You wait to see who's going to come up as pinch hitter, then you change the pitcher at that point.
Right.
It's a waste of time.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah, I think that's
Totally.
I like that.
It reminds me of football is a team scores a touchdown, kicks the extra point, we go to commercial, come out, you have the kickoff, then go to commercial again.
Exactly.
We're coming out of commercial, and we're watching a guy warm up, and then all of a sudden they announce a batter, and now here comes the manager, and now we're going to another 2-minute commercial. I mean, it's like that's a waste of 2 minutes right there.
It is. So it's a good thing. It's a good move by baseball.
I didn't like that extra point reference. That sort of broke my heart a little bit, going back to the Super Bowl.
Are the Niners really your team, a guy from New York?
No, I'm still a Dolphin fan. Yeah, I grew up in Miami, so for me it's still Don Shula and 17-0, the only perfect season.
Jim Kick.
Jim Kick, number 41.
Yeah. Larry's on.
Number 39.
1972. We keep popping the champagne, Marty. We keep popping
every year. Yep, every year we do it. It's fun.
I mean, New England came so close, but man, to do that, and now with more games, I just no one's gonna.
They lost the last game. Unfortunately, they're not perfect.
Not perfect.
So what about the A's, Towny? Tell me something about the A's.
They're going to be.
I don't know. Yeah,
they're going to be far better than you think. This is and when you think about the talent, you think about the athleticism and all of that. But what I'm sensing, Marty B, I just left camp, is that these kids are hungry and they're ready to go. They got a chip on their shoulder, and I like that with young athletes. I want them to feel a little disrespected. I want them to feel hungry. I like this us against the world mentality, that old Lou Holtz, us against the world. Seeing that in the A's clubhouse, and that's far different than what we've seen the last 2 years.
Any young player other than I should be looking at?
I think Nick Allen is going to have a much different year. Nick Allen put on some weight. He went to driveline, really has learned to use the ground as leverage and develop more power. I think and we've seen it. We've seen Nick Allen always go up a level, struggle a little bit, figure it out. Struggle a little bit, figure it out. I think Nick Allen is going to be very interesting.
I think he's a great defender.
Yeah.
I think just the fact that he's a great defender is going to help. Can Hernandez make the club at third base, Towny?
I've been talking about that because he may be the guy, because I know when you're talking about Aletmus Diaz and Toro and even Brett Harris, but Hernandez may be the most talented. But Marty, the guy to watch, who I think if he shows power early with his ability to get on base and the way he plays first base, Ryan Noda is your guy to watch.
Okay. Now, what about the catcher? Langoliers?
Yeah, Langoliers.
How about who's going to be the catcher?
Oh, Langoliers. Langoliers will have 25 to 30 home runs this year.
Now, what happened to Soderstrom?
Soderstrom is not very good behind the plate. They're going to have to find a place for him. And right now, with DH, Brent Rooker's going to be your DH. Mix in with some Seth Brown. They're going to have to find a place. If Soderstrom's going to play every day, and if that bat turns on, he's athletic enough, but we've got to find out where he's going to be able to play.
Okay. Now, how many stolen bases for Ruiz this year?
He said 80 yesterday on the broadcast.
80?
I think he said 80. Didn't
All right,
you,
why
Towny?
not? How many did he have last year?
60.
Well, he set the American League record for a rookie.
68. He had 68, Marty, and he got hurt.
So how many? 80? You give him 80 this year?
I think he gets 80.
Okay. I like
and
it.
I think they win at least 65 games.
All right. All right. This is, it's all good stuff. Look, it's baseball. We're going to get a story every day. You never know what's going to happen. We never know where it's going to. How many people had Texas and Arizona in the World Series last year? Come on.
Exactly.
How about that? The game has changed. It truly is just get in. Just get in, and it's a little series, and anything can happen in a little series.
Going back to football, Marty, we got to look out for the Detroit Lions now.
I know. I love them.
All right, guys, I truly appreciate it. Marty, throughout the year, we will definitely have you on as you know how much you mean to us on this program, how much you've meant to me in my career, how much you've meant to my family with all the stuff you've helped us with. Ken Korach, we know we love you. And Marty, I'm not going to forget.
Come on, he's the captain. He's the captain.
Marty, I'm not going to forget. Good luck.
Good luck, Towny. We'll talk again.
Good luck.
Thanks, Towny. Thank you, Commander.
All right, guys. See ya.
See ya.
2 San Francisco Bay Area Radio Hall of Famers right there. 2 legends. When are you going into the Bay Area Radio Hall of Fame?
I don't know if there's a lot of producers in there. I'd have to look to see if I can make the producer wing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we should introduce that. Do you know how many pull at that Hall of Fame? Korach and Marty could, advocate for us. I mean, Marty's had a bunch of producers at KMBR. He probably wants to get in there.
They don't put people like us in the Hall of Fame.
You can get in. Marty's in. You could get in.
I'm not getting in.
Plenty of time left. You're still, as I say, you're still young. Still young. By the way, SC had 67 steals. He has 68 for his career. I was one off.
67. Yeah, I think he gets 80.
I think that's a fair.
I think 80 would have been if he doesn't get hurt, he gets 80.
Yeah, that's a fair assumption. I don't think you're off on that. I mean, I know Ronald Acuna was a 40-70 guy last year, but I don't know if he does that again this year.
How many games did SD play in?
SD last year, 132.
Yeah, I mean, if he plays 145, 150, I think he can get to 80.
Yeah.
I mean, and now he's established I can do it.
He's right. He was also caught stealing 13 times last year.
I mean, he's established, okay, like he knows, like he's like, this is what he's at a year of growth. Now he knows, oh man, I can swipe. I bet if we talked to him right now and said, you could have swiped more bags, he'd say, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Shoot for the moon, baby. The world's your oyster. All righty. A's and Giants coming up next. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. getting you ready for A's baseball right here on A's Cast. Coming up next, we got a little Cactus League action. The Bay Bridge Series down in the Valley of the Sun. Athletics Giants next right here on A's Cast and the A's Radio Network.
It's almost that time again, A's fans. Spring training will be here before you know it, and the Oakland Athletics will be celebrating 10 years at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, starting on February 24th, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends.
Lawrence Butler, it's a fly ball to left field that's deep. Has a chance opposite field, home run, Lawrence Butler.
Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Cubs, Angels, and more at Ho-Ho-Cam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
This has been a presentation of the Oakland Athletics.